So again, welcome. My name is Triin. I am the head of investor relations of Estate Guru, and today's webinar's topic, first and foremost, is definitely the ongoing A round via the Seedrs platform, which we are more than happy to elaborate a bit more about. With me today, I have Estate Guru's CEO Marek Pärtel, COO Mihkel Stamm, and Chief Credit Officer Andres Luts.
Hello.
And while we have received a few questions already before through the Slido community, then some of the questions were definitely about the A round. Some of the questions were a bit more focusing on some features, some very specific features of the platform, which we are trying to avoid today. So, but everything remaining, we will try to answer as well as possible. And before we get into the questions that you have asked, perhaps I will give a short time for each of the participants to give a very brief overview of what it is that they are doing here in Estate Guru. Marek, perhaps you can begin.
Thanks, Triin, for intro, and hello again. Now it's already a second time when we're having this kind of format of webinar, and happy to see that we have more than 200 participants already joined, and it's a quite popular format. And during the lockdown, people have started to love these kind of formats. I personally prefer to have a more like a personal touch with people, and to have a one-to-ones or in more like face-to-face conversations. But what to do? We have to live in the new reality. So shortly, maybe there are also people who don't know much about the Estate Guru and have get information about us through Seedrs campaign. So maybe shortly in a few words what we do and where we stand at the moment, and then go from there. So Estate Guru is a property-backed lending platform and investment platform. Now we are more than 6 years old. We have facilitated more than 200 million of loans in different countries. We have offices in Baltics, Finland, and soon planning to launch bigger markets like Germany, Spain, the UK, and some other markets after that. And our aim is to become the leading pan-European platform for property finance and investments. So happy to have this webinar today, and hopefully we can answer as much as possible, as many as possible questions what you might have.
Perfect. Mihkel.
Hello, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank all the people who have already actually joined our Seedrs campaign and shown the belief in our business model and in our ambitions. So it's really encouraging to see that, but at the same time puts us in a really hot seat to really execute and deliver all the plans what we have set in the upcoming years. So I'm a Chief Operating Officer here, and today we'll cover more of these topics on our product developments, how the operations are going. So my role here is to run the day-to-day operations, and I also overview the activities in the product area. So really look into the conversation and the discussion we're going to have.
Great. Andres.
Hello, I'm Chief Credit Officer, and my responsibilities are credit risk analysis, also debt collection and data science. And I'm part of the credit committee, and also in risk department, I'm responsible of all the risk procedures and setting up the automatization and all the necessary infrastructure for more efficient risk analysis.
Perfect. So before we jump into the topics, very briefly about what are these things that we're going to speak about. First of all, of course, the Seedrs capital round. Let's speak about the valuation justification. Let's speak about the general future of the real estate market and how Estate Guru sees itself evolving in it. Of course, international expansion, new products, and exit strategy that Estate Guru is planning to implement. We are trying to limit the webinar to 1 hour. So And meanwhile, I of course encourage everybody to use the Q&A section to ask all of the questions that you have, and we will definitely make sure to answer them. So straight away, Seedrs capital round. Marek, perhaps you would like to elaborate a bit more why we are raising capital, what are the very general plans, and later on we can go into the specifics.
Sure. So State Guru, during these last 6 years when we funded the company, has been really capital efficient company, and we have built up the structure of nearly 45 people. We have entered new markets. We have offices in five countries currently, and we have built a really sophisticated tech platform to be able to facilitate these hundreds of thousands of investments that we have done to date. But as our ambitions are higher than that, it's option. What we have an option to grow in a slower pace, or we have the option to grow faster pace and actually use these opportunities that we currently see in the market. And that's the reason we currently having this external capital round. Yes, so far there's about 2 million invested external capital to a State Guru equity. We had the first angel investors joined about 4 years ago, and one of the leading VCs, Speed Invest, came on board in the end of 2018, and now it's like a logical step to move further and move quicker further and expand to bigger markets, and that's the reason we're having this capital raise today. And what was the other part of the question, Triin?
No, that pretty much gives a generic overview, and later on we can jump into the detailed specifics of the same topic as well. But perhaps let's then continue. There's one issue that we cannot go without, and that is the COVID situation. So we have received questions which are asking about whether the capital raise can be by any means associated with the current pandemic situation or the health crisis. Mihkel, perhaps you would like to give our answer in that sense.
Yeah, actually, we started with preparation for around way before the crisis hit. So it has been already in long-term plans, as Marek explained, that we really see the growth opportunities. We have this far really grown organically, almost 2 times annually already. So we saw that it's perfect timing for additional growth. And actually, yeah, it turns out that it could be even more beneficial at the moment, because the company started in the last crisis, and we see the product what we have really fit for the times like these.
Perhaps you can give also a short overview of what is the situation with the pandemic now, at least in the current markets that we are actively operating in, and how is it affecting our daily business today?
Yeah, I think we covered more of this, what activities we did in our last webinar, but overall we have adjusted as a company. If there's a more detailed questions later on, I can answer on that, but we see that, yeah, I agree, this is something which is a global thing which has affected all of us. It is something which is affecting the businesses, different sectors, but we also see that countries are in different situation. For example, in the countries where we have now the offices and we're operating are actually in the phase of coming out of this. So for example, in Tallinn, now they opened up the restaurants, people are already outside. In yesterday we had only 3 new cases. So people are really preparing for the brighter future at the moment, and same applies to the other countries.
Yeah, and that being said, we still are definitely very cautious and taking care of our employees' health. But as mentioned, we have been a very ambitious company since the beginning, and we want to continue this path despite the overall health crisis.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Marek, jumping back to you, perhaps you would like to give an overview of the current status of the Seedrs round, because there are Seedrs investors here, but there are also investors from the Estate Guru platform who may or may not be familiar with the situation.
Yeah, we happy to see that our minimum target that we initially planned to raise 350,000 is more than 180% subscribed, so we almost 2 times oversubscribed, but we still leave the campaign open till the end of the month, and there are about 800 investors already invested, so we're really grateful for the trust you have in us, and overall, yes, our plan is to raise 3 to 5 million of equity within the next 12 months. There are also some other options we are considering, like venture debt, and we're quite flexible in the sense that we can adjust our speed of new developments and market entries based on the amount raised through the equity or debt. So we are not under the pressure. We can turn to be profitable from the next month if we wish to do so. So actually, operationally, the company is profitable, and the money we raise, actually it goes for developing further our tech and our geographical expansion. And also we plan to build a strong capital markets team and capital and structures that are needed to attract institutional and the more sophisticated investors. So yeah, Seedrs round is open till the end of the month, and I encourage to log into Seedrs if you haven't done so, and we have answered already tens of questions to different investors, and probably some of the topics we are covering today have already been answered more in quite a detail in a Seedrs Q&A session.
Mihkel, would you like to add anything to the question, how will the raised funds be invested back into the company? Would you like to be more specific in that?
I think Marek gave a really good overview of what we're doing. So, like I said, this was already long time prepared. We have been growing organically 2 times, but we now saw that looking into the markets where we want to go and the situation we have shown a product fit at the moment. We see the organic growth of the company in a really good established way. So we wanted to actually get this additional equity to make these really good strategic investments and to the areas what Marek was covering. So it's about expanding to new markets, establishing the capital markets, and then as we are really on tech driven, so we can already speed up a lot of the developments what are in pipeline and to benefit from these. So yeah.
Okay. We covered the future, but let's quickly reflect back on the past as well, and maybe you would like to comment the Estate Guru's financial results in the past, very briefly. We have published the financials through the Seedrs platform, so investors can all see that. Perhaps still a comment from the management would be adequate here.
I can go with this. So maybe even a little bit longer answer on that. So I think in this sense we haven't been in sense a traditional startup, getting a lot of equity money in and using it for a lot of investments. So the founders team and the core team is really experienced entrepreneurs and experts in the field, and it has been our DNA that we really manage the business sustainably. So all the revenues we earn and profits we have all these years reinvested into the company. So, and we actually reached the profitability already in the end of 2018. But as Marek also mentioned, then in the beginning of 2019, we partnered up with this one of the leading VC funds, Speed Invest. They invested 1 million into our company, and during the year we used this money to actually speed up the growth. And same what we actually planning to do now. We invested in the strategic areas. We hired the key people to take to the next level. We made technology developments and expanded to new countries. In this case, it was Finland preparations to other countries. So all this actually meant that if we now publish the annual report, that it's obvious that overall the year was in minus, but eventually all these investments paid off, because already Q1 this year we reached the profitability. So again, like Marek mentioned, now we are in the crossroads. We can continue going organically or actually benefit from the times what we have now and really press aggressively and then go into the new level in our business.
You mentioned the annual reports. We received question about the 2019 annual report. So we have published the reports of the past 2 years publicly on our website. The last year's audit will be published in June. That is kind of the industry standard here in Estonia, and they will become available in June. We will definitely and absolutely share it with the investors as well. Also, we have received a few questions in the Q&A section. Thank you for those. I will come back to these when we get to these topics. So
maybe one more comment I would like to do about the financial part. So as I said, we are in a situation where we could go different ways, but we are like really flexible and adaptable. Like again, for example, even though we know what is the situation, everybody are now seeing the declines in most of the companies see declines in the business. So in our case, we also level dropped in April. So okay, we dropped almost 50% compared to March, but again, revenues dropped only 30%. And as we made adjustments in our cost base, we were really able to compensate this, and we are in a really good position at the moment to actually go forward of this. So and already this month we see that there's a predicted like 25% increase in the volumes compared to the April. So things are getting like speeding up in loan part as well.
Yes, absolutely. When coming back to the Seedrs topics, then Marek, one question that we have perhaps received the most has been regarding the valuation. So maybe you can give an overview of the methodology here and how the valuation was determined.
Yes, there are different ways to measure the valuation, and of course there are always different opinions. We have consulted to several M&A consultancies and also venture capital people and look at the comparison and maybe some KPIs to mention that are commonly used evaluating similar business models that we have, and fintech companies is definitely the revenue. It can be used the planned the last 12 months revenue or take the existing month's revenue and then have a forward-looking approach. But in our case, we took the last 12 months revenue. When we went out, it was 3.1 million euros, and then there are revenue multipliers evaluating this kind of similar businesses and tech companies that can vary from 6 times to 20 more than 20 times. So in our case it was less than 10 times. It was around 9 times the last 12 months revenue, which is more like lower end of the scale. Then the other metrics that's often used is the assets under management, because we we can be also considered as an asset management company, as we managing the funds of our lenders. So we currently have 105 million under management, and then third KPI is the last 12 months lending volume that we had around 90 million once we went live with our Seedrs campaign. So I have written a more specific answer about that also in our Seedrs Q&A session. But taking account all these metrics, we and also the current COVID situation, the valuation should be fair for our investors, and that would leave quite a lot of upside still, even if we achieve only half of what we have planned. There should be quite a lot of upside possibility from the investment. Yes.
Yes. Just to quickly jump in, we received a question about asking for financial data and information, so figures, stats, predictions, and business plan in detail. Just to put it out there, the financials have been published on the Seedrs website, including the audited financial reports, which are available on our website. Regarding publishing business plans and kind of roadmaps, that's a bit difficult because going through Seedrs, you are like exposing yourself to a wide variety of people, including our competition. So these are normally the topics that we publish subject to NDA. But the overall high-level plans are published, and hopefully investors can get some information from that.
And I think we have answered a lot of actually detailed answers as well in Q&A session there. So
yes, absolutely. But
yeah, I think we just to add on maybe yeah, I think we have quite transparent in our pitch deck and also in our answers to the questions. And if there are really detailed questions of our business strategy, we have, of course, weekly, monthly, and quarterly plans, and we adjust them according to the market situation quarterly. And these are like a strategic plans that we unfortunately, in the interest of all the investors that already have invested and our current investors, we always consider if this information makes sense to open to the wider public, or we prefer to keep it in a high level, and I think every investor understands it.
Yes. Moving further, how do you compare yourselves to your competitors, and what aspects of your business are your most unique selling points or competitive advantages? Marek, maybe you would like to continue.
Maybe our vision to build a pan-European marketplace or platform or ecosystem for property finance and investments is something that is unique. We haven't actually seen somebody with such an approach, or maybe we haven't seen them communicating so clearly, and at the same time keep the product very simple, like we have. It's a property-backed loan. 95% is a senior loan, and scaling this product to our investor base of different profile. And because most of the big players that are in the UK and some platforms like LendInvest or Assets Capital, they are UK based only, and yes, I think our cross-border approach and ability and the track record already that we have demonstrated and of issuing loans in 7 countries and having our representative offices in 4 countries. This is a good basement to move forward. So that would be the answer.
Yeah, I agree that the main things, or main let's say 3 main things that we distinguish ourselves by are definitely the geographic focus, so like the pan-European approach to our business, also the nature of the product by the security and what is the investment product that we offer. So there are different options what these types of investments can be secured by, and we have definitely and will be continuing on the mortgage type of loan investments in that sense.
Well,
do you have a...
Yeah, I will elaborate on this, because I think that being already expanding to different countries and in our business segment, it's not common actually or that easy for the lending business to do so, and we have already the experience in doing it to the 5 different countries, and actually we have done the legals in all countries, so we are ready to actually really go and expand into new markets. And at the same time, what can't be underestimated is the cost efficiency. So with the number of people and the investments we have got into the company, the things we have been able to achieve with all this is remarkable. And I think this is actually a lot of thanks to the technology we have under the hood. A lot of things what is shown seems like really simple, but there's a lot of hidden things that we are working on the back end and all that part, which is actually benefiting our investment flow processes. So we're already in our core process 90% digital, but the things we are doing in origination, doing our AML processes, doing the decisions, all this is something which we are really benefiting and making us lean, agile, and cost effective as a business to scale it up.
Yes, and perhaps continuing, we're also receiving questions about the real estate market in general. So perhaps Andres, that's your forte. But the main question is that how do we see the long-term volumes of estate guru and the returns that we can offer to the investors evolving over time, especially in the context where we are entering new markets?
So we see the loan volumes increasing gradually when we open new markets, because usually we do test cases and test our product and don't take too much risk. We see that the average interest rate will remain around 10%, and even in the countries where GDP per capita is higher, like Finland or Germany, our product is still competitive. There is healthy market segment for our product. Also, which I want to add is that in some countries or markets, maybe bridge loans are not so typical. Maybe we will issue more development loans. And also, we are seeing that even in an economic crisis situation, our product is viable when traditional banks are not so active in the loan market. And so our long-term vision and growth is quite optimistic, and our product is competitive.
Maybe in a very few sentences also you could provide information about the Baltic kind of forecast.
Okay, so Baltic is with, in macroeconomic view, with a very low government debt, and private persons are also quite financially healthy. Their incomes have increased, so their overall debt burdens are low, and we see that the companies with banks are not pumping too much loan volumes into the market. So the general strength of the financial sector is good, and that affects positively also the real estate market. And so we can be in a very good position to offer our products to very competitive borrowers. And that's why we see that the Baltics will be one of the key markets still, and then we will concentrate on these markets also in the future.
And we also received a question about the status of the construction sites. So throughout the entire health crisis, construction sites are one of these places that actually were not affected at all. So they were open throughout the entire process or everything that has happened within the past few months, and our borrowers have not been affected in that sense.
Yes, yes. So we are seeing that developments are ongoing, and also we haven't seen any large drop in pre-sales or pre-booking. So the ongoing projects are completed and the sales are happening.
When we're already discussing entering new markets, how do we plan to scale up the recovery efforts when growing the business? So let's say that the debt management in general, especially in the context of, again, expanding to new markets.
No, so we have constructed a very scalable risk model or debt management model. So in every country, we are applying our very conservative, robust credit policy. We are doing very thorough due diligence to all of our borrowers. Also, the real estate collaterals are evaluated internally, externally. Also, we have in every country a very strong legal partner, also debt collection partner. And so I cannot see any problems in expanding to new countries and growing the business. We are prepared for everything.
Okay, when looking at especially the German market, then we're receiving a question, how are we planning to compete with the very cheap interest rates in the German market without attracting so-called trash projects?
So we are seeing that some borrowers still want to make, for instance, very, very quick deals. And our business model or our product is for them. And for that quickness, they are willing to pay more interest rate to get or close the deal. And I think that our segment in general in Europe is with higher interest rate because it's short-term loans, not long-term loans.
And in many occasions, the exit strategies of the projects also include refinancing to a bank or a traditional financial institution. So basically, they are buying themselves time for a certain period with the more expensive money.
Yes.
Continuing on the risk and risk management side, how is the State Group prepared for a possible burst of the real estate bubble?
Oh, well, very good question. I don't see that we have a real estate bubble because when we compare the last burst or bubble, then currently the financial status of the governments and private persons are much better. Banks have been more conservative. The lending market is healthy. When we see and look at the real estate market, then there isn't so much speculative developments. Lots of sales are occurring with equity. So, for instance, in Estonia, we have around 8 billion euros of deposits in private persons' accounts. So and most of or many of the new transactions are done without bank financing, and also our business borrowers, our clients are very risk adverse and looking and doing their own due diligence and not taking too much risk. So I cannot see that we have a bubble and that we will burst. But if it will, then we are ready. As I mentioned, our debt collection and default procedures are evolving day-by-day basis, and we are ready to recover every loan which goes into default.
Quickly jumping back into the COVID situation and a very short question about that. Have you seen any specific changes in the liquidity of real estate in general, and what are your predictions in that sense?
We haven't, because during the crisis we have still recovered some loans and sales are happening. So as I mentioned, the overall macroeconomic situation has been good. And I want to mention that real estate market is not the first sector that will be hit or has been hit by the COVID situation. So there are other sectors, and real estate market has grown and shown stability. And our collaterals also, we haven't seen any drop in values, and I don't see any significant change in the market right now.
Sure. But perhaps coming back to Estate Guru's ambitious side and the capital raising round, then Marek, coming back to you, which are our target markets in the next, let's say, in the next 5 years, and also during this year and the next year?
Yes, the next markets that we targeting is Germany, UK, Spain, Portugal, and Netherlands, and we have actually the playbook of market entry playbook what we are using to enter the new market. So there are different activities going behind the scenes that we are doing while we're preparing to fully launch in the market. So we have to build our network of the cooperation partners, sort out the legals, understand fully what is exactly the product that is needed the most in the market. Is it the bridge loan? Is it the development finance? Is it the property-backed business loan or some other? So we plan to be within the next 5 years in most of the European markets where the legal system is working normally, and the litigation process is working as we need to. This is one part of our business to recover the defaulted loans also successfully, and also, yes, one market more. We have all the paperwork ready to launch in Ireland. This might be also one of the next markets. So we don't wanna say the exact time of the exact market entry, but this year Germany and the UK are the markets where we plan to hire first people, and we have a license already granted in the UK from the last year. It took us quite some time to get it because was not the most easiest process, but we have it now, and also the pan-European crowdfunding license would definitely be very helpful once it's accepted and approved to speed up our market entry processes. But I think that's generally about our preferred first markets.
Mm-hmm. We covered new market entries, and now I would like to go into implementing new products, developing the existing products, but we also just received a question asking whether Estate Guru is planning to get involved into our own real estate projects, meaning that Estate Guru being a developer and not only the facilitator or the intermediator.
I mean, it's not currently in our roadmap to be a developer. It doesn't mean that one day maybe a Estate Guru brand is so strong and so well known that we could generate some new business lines and business models. But definitely we try to keep our position to be independent. And if we would be developers, then probably it would be under different brand, and it's totally different business area. So we don't say it would never happen, but it's not currently our priority.
And we definitely have the expertise of real estate development in-house as well, given that Marek is also involved in a completely separate real estate developer company, for an example, and definitely we have like different aspects of real estate expertise fully in-house.
Yeah, the founders of Estate Guru actually have quite a lot of real estate experience, and I'm still a passive partner of one of the leading real estate development companies in Estonia. Not involved in day-to-day business, but in a founder level. And also the other founders, Kaspar has been working more than 10 years in real estate valuation, one of the top companies in Estonia. And in this sense, we definitely, it's not about the expertise that we would have in development, but currently we are trying to redesign the property finance sector in Europe, and I personally find it more exciting than building houses. It's already, I think it's more exciting, which doesn't mean that if there is one day we're starting to reform maybe the how people live and where they live. State Guru is an innovative company, and in the group level, if some exciting business ideas are born, then we can discuss them. But it's not in the near future plans.
Mihkel, perhaps you would like to add to the product development side from a technical perspective.
Yeah, like I said, the core product will remain the same. It's a real estate backed lending, and we see it as it's a really broad product fit in this, and there's a need in countries where we plan to go. So this will be the main focus. But at the same time, as our big ambition is be the leading marketplace, this means that there are a lot of services and features and even the same core product range things what we can do. So this means that we will be spending on time thinking out innovative ideas in upcoming years. If you look at the business plan, we'll be spending more time on institutional products, but that doesn't mean that we don't do anything with the retail. Retail remains a big part for our business in upcoming years as well. So we try to, as we are doing this marketplace solution, we try to balance between these so that both parties will benefit maximum out of this. So, and at the same time, when talking about balancing, then really one thing is about doing new products, new things, but there are a lot of things what to do actually under the hood to ensure the operational efficiency and actually do the new ways of how to finance the products, how to finance the today's borrowers and the future borrowers. So there's a new way of doing it. So we will be spending our resources to automation and the digitalization and connecting different service providers. So, but to give more specific examples, like we have just in previous year finished working with a lot of investment into AML and KYC processes. So we have, for example, gone from 0% of manual verification to fully automated manual verifications of the clients, and actually at the same time build a top-notch monitoring system to really understand who our customers are and what their background and why it is important. This is like the hygiene level for attracting more institutional investors and to really be the compliant and well-covered business. So now we are finishing this Lemon implementation and start step-by-step migrating countries and investors into this system. So what it means is that this allows us to fully segregate accounting for the investors at one point, but at the same time speed up the experience and to make it more better for the users. So we have implemented a new internal loan application functionality, which is already allowing us to collect enriched data and from different data sources. So this is one step closer to start giving automated decisions at one point. So there are a lot of these things what we are doing, and parallel to that, there are some maybe new type of products what we can further introduce to the investors from both from retail and institutional parts. And yeah, we have been, of course, open-minded to different ideas. So at one point, like Marek said, about real estate development, but we have been thinking of buy-to-let products, debt funds, searching for debt loans in different market participants. But these are like still in an idea level, and we are not committing to the saying out what is the new exciting thing coming out next.
You already mentioned the institutional investors. How will the institutional investor strategy in general fit the current business model that we have, and why is it necessary? Why is it useful also for all of the participants, including the retail investors? Marek, maybe you comment.
Yes. Yes, there is a question. I see also that are you preventing yourself to go to larger project because of lack of institutional investors? Yeah, it's partly true that we haven't really concentrated in the past too much of the bigger investors and institutional investors. So currently we have in the pipeline also quite many projects in the range of 2 to 10 million euros, and that are a little bit too big to put to the platform. So we actually now recently started to build extension to the platform where we would list also these bigger deals that would attract also some sophisticated investors, and we also at the moment is researching the best solution how to structure these deals to the products that professional investors like, such as funds or bond structures. So this is definitely one area we are now focusing more. But we try while developing this institutional side, we try to balance this with a strategy toward the retail investors also. So we believe that the more we're able to fund, the more we're able to source the deals, the more variety it will give also to retail investors. So yeah, so that's about the institutional investors. It's definitely our focus. There are a couple of questions regarding the UK market, Triin. If I may take these as the next one. As there's one question about if the loans are going to be listed in pounds or euros. So definitely we are going to introduce also the exchange opportunity, or to invest in both currencies, and that's the technical solution we have to solve before launching the UK. And the other question of the UK is about the competitive situation in the UK. That quite many fintechs or lending platforms have also failed in the UK. So we have followed the UK market quite many years, and we believe we know the current situation of players and how the market operates. But as our business model is designed to be a cross-border model, there are also a lot of UK borrowers who have properties outside of the UK who actually looking for funding. So we see that these borrowers also our target group. Plus there are a lot of institutional and retail investors coming from the UK. So we'd like to be close to them. We already have one debt fund based in Mayfair investing into our loans, and in this sense we've been step by step going closer to the UK, and definitely the market, the UK market is the third biggest alternative finance market in the world after US and China, and there's definitely enough room for us, and given our experience and our very lean cost base while entering the new markets. So it's we are aware of the competitive situation and the cost base that might be there. And regarding the higher marketing costs, we are not planning to have the tubes full of our posters and our investor acquisition costs are very low, and we have a lot of investors joining our platforms through referrals of other investors. So we believe in word of mouth. We believe in referral, power of referral, and we ensure that our product is and our track record is attractive to onboard new investors and deals to the platform without huge marketing costs.
Yeah. I will add one more thought. This one keyword here is diversification and synergy between that. So I think the strategy is very well aligned, because if you look at expanding new countries, adding here institutional and the combination of retail investors, so this is very well aligned, because if we want to grow the volumes, we need to enter new markets. At the same time, we need institutions to go there, and if we are able to fund more deals, then actually this brings a lot of more diversification to retail, and so this is all aligned and really well balanced in this sense.
Since we have roughly 7 minutes left, then quick questions, quick answers. Do you see Estate Guru at one point engaging in or investing its own skin in the game into the projects that we facilitate on the platform? Maybe Marek?
I mean, our employees are free to invest already now to the deals in the platform. We have restricted the investment into the secondary market investments due to potential conflict of interest. But I think quite a lot of our employees are very active investors already now. We might raise also some institutional product like a debt fund or structure it some other way to be able to invest into the deals what we originate. But it would be then a separate structure, and it would be in the same equal terms to other investors. So we believe in the deals what we facilitate, and I think it only adds security to our investors if we invest ourselves.
Clear. Let's continue with the exit strategy. So how would the specific exit strategy be determined, and what can our investors expect in terms of timeline and everything? Sure.
No, we have also communicated it in Seedrs Q&A that we believe that the exit strategy would be in a next 5 to 7 years, and most probable way is the listing or make the company public, whether it's IPO or in some other form. Now, currently, there are more and more possibilities to make the company's shares tradable. Actually, Seedrs investors actually can get the opportunity to exit their investments already after investing, as Seedrs has the secondary market available. So it's not a big case for Seedrs investors. But regarding the exit strategy, we plan to continue building the company in the next years. So we are not looking for exit in the near term. yes, that's it.
This question is really taking us back time-wise to the previous topics, but perhaps 1 minute answer from, for example, Andres. What is your strategy to fund good deals, and how do you actually find the best real estate projects in each country? So basically, how do we ensure the quality of our portfolio in each country?
So we have scrapers that are scraping different databases for potential projects, and in every country we have loan managers and country managers who are getting the deals in, and our main due diligence is borrower and collateral based. So we are doing full credit risk analysis of the borrower, scoring, and also we look the valuation, visit the property, and also analyze the business plan and the future forecast of the borrower. So we are spending a lot of time in analyzing our projects and our experience. Like Marek mentioned, that our CRO is a real estate evaluator and was, and then we have also banking background people in the company, and also some of our own employees are real estate developers. So we know ins and outs of the real estate market.
Okay. And when perhaps reflecting back to the competitive situation, for an example, in the German market, then we received also a bit of supportive comment in that sense that perhaps we should emphasize more that we are actually financing development loans, if that wasn't clear at the beginning of the webinar. So development loans are one of our segments, and as the comment also states that that we really need to understand the product and the loan itself, given that development loans from other, let's say, traditional financing institutions can also be with a cost of capital of around 8 to 10%. So just a small comment from one of our viewers. But
yes, I would also add that this current situation, what we are now going through, has shaped the capital markets and the overall situation of the lending also. From the traditional players, and actually how the crowdfunding and peer-to-peer lending model was born. It was actually born during the last crisis of 2008 and during these times. And we believe that our model and the power of our investors' ability to fund millions of euros of deals, it's definitely very much needed in the situation of tightened liquidity from the capital markets. So and our aim here is to create and to make this ecosystem of property finance and the investments even more efficient and add this kind of fuel to the machine, so to say.
Perhaps one last very quick question from the viewers is that the investors are trying to understand how should they estimate the return of this equity investment after having invested in the capital round. Maybe if you
yes, I would. Before I mentioned these three different main criteria that we considered in determining the valuation, which are the company revenue plus 12 months revenue, which is secondly the existing loan book, assets under management, and previous 12 months loans. And if these numbers are growing, the company is entering the new markets, getting maybe some onboarding some institutional credit lines. These all positive factors that would affect the value of the company. We're going to definitely keep Seedrs investors up to date of our performance, of our latest developments, and we plan to have a quarterly short overview for our equity investors and for them to evaluate their investment.
And meanwhile, everybody who is invested in Seedrs also has the opportunity to register on the Estate Guru marketplace. So through that, you would get access to a lot of additional information regarding the loan book, regarding the credit portfolio overviews, how we are doing, also, of course, the audited reports, etc. But perhaps the very last, but a bit different or challenging question from my side this time is that what is the aspect or the investment, let's say, that is coming from this round that you personally are most excited about? Maybe Andres, you can begin.
So I like automatization, so I hope that we will invest even more in our data science roadmap implementation, and we are seeing more and more automated decisions and deal originations.
Thank you. Mihkel.
Yeah, I will also go to the technology department. So I'm really excited about actually being able to speed up some of the things we have been preparing and to bring these things into life and to bring the value for the end users who are our investors, our borrowers, and our partners. So there are a lot of things what we can change and do in a way of the financing and the investing in real estate is done, and we are really ambitious about to make a change in this and then unify the European market first and then go beyond that.
Perfect. And Marek, final word to you.
I agree with Mihkel and Andres about the technology. This is the key, definitely, for growing nowadays. But at the same time, I also look forward to have a physical presence in Germany and in some other bigger European markets. And also, I'm looking forward to meet to get more people on board and growing the team and getting more competence inside the company in capital markets area and overall, I'm very excited about growing the business. I'm really all the team. We enjoy the ride, and I'm happy that we have so great team, and we have grown the company already 6 years, and it's been a great fun.
Perfect. And to conclude up, then we are also very excited to have more and more people on board with our vision, with our ambition to expand, to grow, to offer more to the investors and the borrowers. And from my side as well, thank you to everybody for participating. If you have any sorts of questions that pop up either today, tomorrow, later, then we are trying to be as active as possible in the Seedrs forum. We will answer all of the questions that you might have. Also, we are available through info@estateguru.co, and we are hoping to hear more feedback from you. And definitely thank you for participating, and stay safe during these hectic times, and speak to you soon.
Thank you very much.